that was an interesting session in terms of the future. This one's really not about the future, but about the way I think testing should potentially be done in the future. In Through the Outdoor was an old Led Zepp album released somewhere in 1980. I was a very impressionable 15 years at that time. And what struck me about the entire phrase In Through the Outdoor was that it was a very nice play on words. And I quite like play on words. Later on, I realized that they wanted to do a concert in Britain after being in tax exile, and that's why they wanted to make the entrance back from their last album. And that's why they called it In Through the Outdoor. In the testing world, I can perfectly relate to this. It's everything that goes out of the door comes right back in because of customer issues and defects. So it's like in through the outdoor because of all the defects that customers complain about, right? Let's look at some of the trends that we have seen around, and to a large extent, a lot of that has been covered yesterday. It's been covered by Raj today to certain extents. People are looking at agile, cost, speed, quality. What's also changing is that the move away from web to the SOLO-MO, as they call it, or SMAC, as they call it now, and to customer centricity, which is the I experience, the you experience, the he experience, and the she experience, right? It has to be very customer-centric to that extent, the experience that you get. It also is looking or moving away from the kind of functional and technical focus. When I talk to a lot of our customers and we look at the testing that's done, everybody breaks down their entire scenarios into functional testing scenarios. You're either a functional testing tester, or you are a performance tester, or you're a security tester, or you are a usability tester. You're never all of them combined into one to generate what I would think should be really customer experience. You essentially are moving towards a area where you need to look at customer experience, which is not just about usability, which is the mistake most people make about customer experience. It's about the processes that go around how the customer uses your service, your product, or your application at any point in time. Customers have also moved away from, let me tell you what needs to be done, to the you tell us what needs to be done in that shrinking budget, in that shrinking time, in that as quick as I can get with the best results that I can get, right? So they're no longer in the mode to listen to you or want to spend time with you and tell you, here are the 10 things that you need to do. They want to know from you exactly what can happen. Again, when I look at the customers that we talk to in the last 1 year, there used to be this large test factories that were there. Now you look at the test factories, it's kind of moved into very small engagements within that. There is no one large engagement. There are lots of small engagements there. How do you maintain independence of testing? You work within a larger Scrum team, right? So your testers are essentially let loose into a larger Scrum team where they work as a part of that Scrum. You essentially then need the right set of skills to be able to arm your testers with, because earlier you could get away with large teams, hide some weaknesses here, hide some weaknesses there, get across. But today, when you're talking about individuals contributing within a Scrum, you're looking at a higher set of skills that you really need to have out there. Customers now, can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah? Okay. Customers now are moving away from the fact that earlier when you were testing, you really had to say that, okay, I am working with the business analyst to define the functional scope. Things move on to release, you forget about it, or it moves to UAT. You don't really interface other than knowing what UAT is doing. Developers would fix a lot of that problems. You sometimes knew what was happening in operations support. You sometimes knew what was happening in another system or subsystem which you were interacting with. Unfortunately, now customers saying that you need to start weaving or joining all those dots out there. Your testing is not done in isolation. It means breaking through even customer organizational boundaries, which are across processes, which are across systems, which are across even support functions to that extent. And you need to make sure that you're threading the entire gap across the three. And of course, customers are no longer interested in just a service. They want you to be a part of the risk, as we saw in yesterday's discussions, right? Now, let's look at the thin ice that customers are really skating on. And this is where I think Jeff alluded to yesterday, where 31% of the CIOs feel threatened. Now, why? I mean, they're working on, the thin ice that they're skating on really is about customer experience is key. It drives their financial performance. A simple example is an organization like ours. 2 years consulting with customers, I know that the cost of trying to acquire a new customer is that much more higher than going up to an existing customer and say, what else can I do for you in this, or suggest ways that we can help them. They're more amenable to that. The cost of acquisition is probably a lot more in terms of time, effort, cost, everything put together. So about customer experience, you also have the other forums where, while a lot of them believe that their customer experience of their applications and services are good, customers really don't believe it. I mean, look at Mouth Shut, look at Twitter, look at Facebook, look at Google+, and you will find enough examples of bad customer experience, while you will also find great examples of customer experience, right? In terms of if you were to define customer experience, Gartner has a way of putting it, which is the entire interaction that a customer goes through, right? It is everything. While we say there is an order to cash process, or while we say that there's a taking a product to market process, it involves different things. It involves how your customer interacts with you or with your organization through some channel. If the customer faces a problem there, the customer picks up the phone, talks to you through another channel, through the same process called order to cash, right? It is still trying to get all of these various processes hooked together so that at the end of the day, a customer gets a unique experience irrespective of the channel that the customer actually uses, whether it's web, whether it's mobile, whether it's a phone. And that is essentially what defines and drives customer experience. So, when you are then testing for customer experience, I throw in a couple of experiences or definitions of my own, where seizure is essentially what a customer has, the fit that a customer has when he gets a poor experience, or even a symmetry, which is essentially the place you throw all these applications where you get, all those less than 3-star rated applications don't exist, then at some point Android Play Store or iOS should actually start purging some of those applications out there. I think that will soon happen given the number of applications that actually come. They probably go into some symmetry down the line. Okay. Now, in terms of trying to look at what customer experience is, or taking off from there, it is really about the holistic systems and processes. It is a solution that you are giving a customer which says that given a certain interaction that you need to have with me for my product or my service. It could be as simple as trying to order a connection, right? You're trying to order a connection, you go up to somebody at a store, or you pick up the phone, or you try to do it over the web, right? Now, the connection can be somebody taking down your details, or you are an existing customer, in which case how they treat you as a customer, given your background, given your data that they have, will define the experience that can enrich you as an existing customer, right? So it's all about trying to look at the solution of what exactly is the entire ordering process. Does it mean a web interaction? Does it mean a mobile interaction? Does it mean a phone interaction? Does it mean how I train my people to actually interact with different types of customers, and each of these different types of customers that I have a different driver that brings them to me. That, in essence, will define how you could then potentially test for each of these experiences. Do they deliver the best experience in terms of, is your customer delighted, or is he going to go on to mouth shut the moment he finishes the transaction with you? Is the customer going to get abusive with your call center agent, or is your customer going to be saying, thanks a lot, I loved what you said over the phone? And your entire perception as a brand will go in terms of trying to how your customer advocates you in the future. So when you're looking at an entire journey, you're trying to look at the entire customer journey end to end. You're trying to look at what are the different pieces that actually go into making that journey complete. All of us, irrespective of what application or what product we're working in, are always part of a business process. Whether we understand it or not is our problem. You are never doing something which is different from what your business wants you to do. You will always be providing either an end-to-end solution or a part of a solution. Either you're testing a payment system, or you're testing the screens that go into creating an order or giving or taking in certain data. Irrespective of all of that, that is what you're essentially testing. You are part of that entire end-to-end journey that a customer goes through. And if you understand that and where you fit in, you probably now are able to see what happens when a customer goes from point A to point B to point C, which may be beyond you, but still has an impact on how you have tested and delivered. So again, when your customer deals with you, or when that business process is defined, what systems are impacted? We always see the front end and say, oh, this is the system that I'm testing. You talk to testers and everybody tells you, oh, I'm testing this system or this bit of code. But if you look at a telecom application, for example, the ordering system consists of multiple systems that are actually there. There is the order system that takes in your order. There is an activation system that actually activates your phone. There is a billing system to which information needs to be sent so that the telecom operator can actually gain revenue out of you. Now, all of these systems need to talk to each other. And your journey doesn't end by saying, I am only testing the ordering system. It may end for you, but as a part of the overall end-to-end, it still doesn't end. And if people tell you that you are testing end-to-end, we used to have that challenge. Which end do you start from? Which end do you terminate at? And the challenge there is to understand how you are going or flowing or impacting the overall process. And what systems are there and how do they start talking to each other. You also need to identify touch points with the customer. Touch points can be as simple as the interface that a customer sees in front of you. It could be different in terms of an IVR number or a call number that a customer calls upon. Given certain codes, do you want to give him a one-touch, a zero-touch kind of an experience? And how does your customer talk? Who does he or she talk to at the end of the day? Suppose they get through and want to raise or understand a problem or the status of their order, they would call up somebody. That somebody would need to understand exactly where the order was, would need to be able to figure out how I am going to actually communicate back to the customer, at what points do I communicate back to the customer. So while in the ordering journey, you could be communicating with the customer for confirmation, you could be communicating with the customer verbally, you could be communicating with the customer through any other means. And these touch points are important to understand, and these touch points influence different characteristics as far as the organization is concerned. It is about, at the end of the day, if any of these touch points fail, you are still delivering a bad customer experience. You may have the best screen possible, you may have it in the most usable format, you may have it as fast and responsive, but if it fails, and or if the customer uses another channel and goes back, and if that information is not able to be communicated back to the user, you still have a problem because somewhere in that entire user's experience there has been a point of failure. And that, in a sense, is what we're trying to look at when you're talking about customer experience. Each of these touch points affect different things. The brand of the company, how that customer will advocate you going further, how delighted is the customer at the end of the day, and how does that perception of that customer stand with respect to your competitors. So again, going back to a telecom example, I have the choice now with number portability of sticking to Airtel or going to Vodafone or going to any other provider, provided they give me a better experience. We talked a lot about risk-based testing, and we talked about the priorities, the drivers as far as the business is concerned. I'd like to add a third dimension to this, which is the customer experience parameters that you need to bring into play. That means in your entire order journey, if you decompose your entire process, at what points are you interacting with that customer? How important is that customer touch point to your brand or your customer's perception or improving customer delight? Based on which you find yourself doing your tests or weighting your tests slightly differently. This is important because you're now trying to judge or figure out at this particular interval in my entire order journey, when the customer calls up, if the customer has a bad experience, we could A, lose the customer, we could, and you lose a customer, the revenues, etc. associated with that, and you could get yourself into a bad situation of the brand taking a beating. Now, if that is the case, would you prioritize that low or extremely high in terms of the priority that you may give that test? So that is where you would want to take these customer touch points or the customer experience parameters, introduce them into your risk-based testing and say, what is it that now influences how I test? A lot of times, and again I go back to the customer's perception of trying to get you market analysis, right? Or not market analysis, of trying to tell them what is required to be done from testing. Now, when we as testers look at a lot of the problems, a lot of the customer's problems, sometimes you're trying to solve a similar customer's problem, you're trying to solve it at another level, you're working with competitors, you need to understand how different organizations also deliver their data. It's easy to raise defects, okay? In all of my tests that I have reviewed very recently, I find that given the short timelines, given the crunch that is there, people are happy to run happy path scenarios, right? Those are the scenarios that must run. Once they run that, there's no time left to run the more complicated scenarios. And the unfortunate bit about that is that you're only trying to point out problems in a very obvious kind of a scenario. The kind of problems that customers expect now to be reported, or which you can look at in terms of value addition, are what are your competitors doing in a similar kind of a setup? How are they organized? Are they faster? Are they better? Is their customer web, is their interaction or the web interaction at a different level? What can we do to change that? You may not be able to influence it in terms of an immediate change, but somewhere down the line it should be changing in terms of the next level of customer experience that your customer is actually headed for. Again, we talked about shifting left. We talk about how you can get some of these prioritized scenarios tested as early as possible rather than leave it to too late. And lastly, involvement from businesses operations. We talk a lot about involvement of BAs. We very rarely talk about what happens when I go into production and something fails, right? And as Raj also pointed out, the first port of call is the testers did a bad job, right? Are support people able to support what exactly went wrong? Do they Do you understand how problems from the support desk in terms of customer calls, customer complaints can actually influence how you will potentially test in the future? Do you look at the customer service agents, look at the kind of problems that they are facing and bring in elements into your testing? Do you look at including people who are customer service agents into your test team and say, now let me get a better view of how testing or how the real world scenario actually works? And that is in essence what you're trying to do, is cover the entire gamut. You're also trying to look at, and this is where it could be your problem, it could be your customer's problem, it could be, you know, whoever's problem, but it is a problem that needs to be solved. In terms of, when I'm looking at a customer experience, are my people at the end of the day trained to respond to the customer touch points? I mean, the worst thing that can happen is when you release a new service and say, call 1-800-XYZ number, and you pick up the phone, call 1-800-XYZ number, and the person at the other end has no clue that an ad has been released, has no clue as to how to deliver that service out to you, has no information about how you can progress or whom you can connect with to take that service further. Now that's the worst thing that can happen there. And that is when you would say, listen, let me go and check out the competitor's website. Lastly, I think when you're looking at what skills or what needs to change within us from a testing community perspective, we need to get multifaceted. We need to get thinking about what happens out there on the field a lot more than thinking about the functional decomposition of the problem itself. We need to be getting people to think about usability. We need to start getting people to think not only about the technical issue there, but also about where their element or where what they are testing fits into the entire business process as a whole. And if that doesn't happen, what you would have are people who will test what they know in their limited view and never expand to what actually happens out there on the field. Again, given time, given budget, given all of these, how do you prioritize what you need to test as early as you can test, which is where the design and optimization skills come in. It's not, I think there was this thing that I came across. You constantly hear about manual testers, automated testers. I belong to the automation group. I belong to the functional testing group. I think that division now is disappearing. It's not about being manual or automated testers. It's about being test execution specialists, which can be both manual and automated, and needs to be both of that. It is a skill that I think going down the line, people definitely need to pick up, because now in this age, there cannot be an additional overhead that you can load onto the testing team in terms of saying, how do you distinguish between manual testing, send it out, and then get it automated for the next release. You're looking at, again, from a business process perspective, there are interesting model-based testing tools, which is a chapter by itself. But model-based testing tools that allow you to define your entire business process, break it down into individual touch points, be able to prioritize on those, be able to create automated scenarios. To extend what Raj was saying about testing in production, you have tools like Optimizely, which as an example, which allow you to do A/B testing on the fly. So you can actually create variations of your website and figure out which one gains better attention than the other, right? Again, crowd leverage, I have put that because I think there are, again, in this whole scene of trying to do things faster, given the nature, again, let me not advocate this completely, but I think there are scenarios where organizations now need to look at how the rest of the world can actually help them do their jobs better. The reason is that trying to do everything in-house, trying to do it within that one limited time frame is a challenge. What you need to look at is how certain elements can be done at the crowd level, whereas you keep some of the others which needn't be done out there. I mean, again, goes back to the kind of increasing device proliferations, etc., in this newfangled age of mobile testing catching up now. So very quickly, I will summarize. I think the warning bells out there. Customer, I would put experience is king. It's not so much that the customer is king. Yes, the customer is always king, queen. Sorry, I'm not sexist, but long link the queen. Okay, yeah. Customer touch points and customer experience parameters being an important part of trying to define your risk, trying to define how you will design your tests against, and the focus being on processes and systems. I think lastly, I think there are good new tools that are coming out in the market space, and I would really get you to think out of the courts. So, I mean, when I say courts, it's the usual general. Okay, so that was it, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Diwakar. Any questions?
Thank you, Diwakar. Just my question is on the how we can measure the customer experience and include them as a parameter when we do the risk-based analysis.
Each of your, you need to define what is important to your customers, right? We had a customer which was a telecom customer who defined 3 parameters. They said that they wanted to be right first time when they deployed any product. They wanted to reduce the entire cycle time by which a service would be delivered, and they wanted to reduce their overall cost of service, right? Now, these were 3 parameters that they put together as a part of that. Each of them, if you look at it, translated differently. So what is right first time in an ordering scenario, right? It means trying to make sure that if there are any customer interactions, you are able to communicate to the customer correctly, right? So I place an order, I send a notice out to the customer saying your order is received, in progress, will take so and so number of days, right? And for me, the assurance is that it should take that many number of days to finish it. So each of these various customer touch points are actually defined. You can create a weighted system by which you actually assign these weights and create a matrix that tells you exactly what your score for that is going to be. Is there a generic system that we have right now? No. I'll try and create one, get the IP, get it across.
We'll take the last one again.
Sorry?
Last questions?
Hi, Diwakar. I'm Ajit. I'm from Citrix, primarily a product company. My question is a bit of confusion around customer experience, because when we do early testing or involve customer in to understand their pain points and experience, we try and tend to customize our product to particular customer. And then since our product is not only for one particular customer, we want to have it for a different size of or different variety of customer. So how do you put this customer experience one size fits all problem? Like every customer will have their own experience requirements, and then
Correct.
It's not like a social media where everybody is seeing the same thing.
No, it isn't, but you would have types of customers that you could classify them by. Okay, you would start with that in my mind. You would try and solve the problem by breaking it down into the different types of customers that you have. What are the demands that these customers have? What are the drivers that they have? How often do they interact with your system? What kind of systems or processes are being rolled out for that particular type of customer? So if you were a customer that was, let's say the way a credit card company would deal with somebody who held a platinum card versus somebody who held a silver card, right? It could be different. I mean, it's the same in your product case where you could define what are the various things that you could actually break it down into.
I mean, the point was like, we understand customer is king, but if you have so many kings, then it becomes problem to execute.
Well, who's the king of them all? No, I think, yeah, difficult, but at the end, if you're doing customizations, then yes, that customer is king. If you're not doing customizations, then you are obviously making somebody a jester and somebody a minister, right? So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Divakar.